and welcome to another episode of The War Bunker.
Hi, so first of all, honest question. Does your battlefield start to look like this? It might look a little bit like we're actually ready for a game, but something's missing. We've got one army. Just going to drop something again. Got one army here, Space Marines. We've got an Orc army spread out over here. But all in all, something's missing.
And what is it?
That's right. Terrain. Now, when you're starting off in the hobby, it's easy to think, well, first of all, I've got to collect a lot of figures. I've got to collect an army. Got to collect up figures, assemble them, paint them. You probably start off by playing a few games with things in base coat.
Yeah. I
know we did. One of the problems is, though, to really give your game any kind of flavour, you really need part of the game is the environment, is the forces, the armies, forces. And the other part is kind of the environment, and that environment comes from your scenery. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a review of little things that you can do for building up some scenery, building up a catalogue of scenery. We're going to have a look at some of the scenery we've bought. Pretty much as everything with us, we've got an agnostic view. We kind of like look at what's available. We don't just buy one set of scenery, we buy a little bit of a lot of things, so that we've got a good variety. We started off just with using toys. We used to have Thomas the Tank Engine buildings in our early videos. It's come a long way. We've put a lot of time, effort, paint, glue together to kind of build up so that we've got a really good studio. So let's start off by looking first at your table and some things you can do. Okay, a quick shuffle round. So this is one of the things that you can do is obviously say your table and cover it. We've got a slate green cover that we use to kind of make it look a little bit more like grass. We did used to have felt one. Yeah. Not particularly pleased with the felt one because it picks up no end of junk and it just looks kind of shabby after not too long. Mm. What we're going to do then is we're going to look at several companies' products and stuff that you can do yourself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with this company, which is Battlefield in a Box. I have to say that I think these are probably the best scenery that we've got. Mm. Yeah. And Cameron's got a few examples over there. So this is their set of bestial huts and the chieftain's hut as well, which is the big one. Mm-hmm. These, unlike many of the things that we're going to show you, these are actually not only pre-assembled but also pre-painted, and they're lovely. They're all made of a resin, got quite a decent weight. The only problem we find is they're a bit difficult to transport between people. If you ever have to go take your scenery away. This is one set of example. That's obviously a little village we use from time to time. And also there's some ruins that they've got. So they've got several wall pieces here, which again are like some of you've probably seen these in the background of a lot of the games that we've run. These are probably some of our favourite things, and probably my favourite piece is the Chapel of Fallen Heroes, which is just there, which is just an amazing piece. Not too expensive actually, and like I say, very, very good. They're probably the only thing is they don't tend to do particularly large ruins, do they? No. Or complicated buildings. It's all quite simple. That brings us on to, of course, one that I'm sure you're familiar with, which is the Games Workshop line. Now these do actually require painting and assembly, and you're the genius behind these ones, aren't you?
Yeah.
Some really nice buildings. I mean, compared to bringing a piece of the wall from there. Yeah. So as you can see, there's a lot more complexity to that, and if you turn the main piece around, both of them, you can see that what's actually quite nice about this is this has got almost is the movie Stalingrad?
Yeah. Enemy at the gate.
Enemy at the gates.
And
You've got this whole kind of level that you can kind of. Typically, I've only got bikers. My side. Yeah, that's it. This is half the joy, being able to kind of like put them on different levels, and they're very hard to you've got to kind of, if you've got Space Marines. Unfortunately, all I've got are the bikers, which aren't a great example, but you've got to kind of like, it's very,
it's level based.
Yeah, it's got a sensation of house to house fighting in there, isn't it? Which is really, really, really good.
One section can be controlled by you, and then the other from your opponent.
Yeah,
gives a nice dynamic
to the games.
Yeah.
And being able to paint them as well, you can do them in different faction colours if you want. Cameron always gets annoyed if I paint something in my faction colours as it belongs to him. Yeah, he's going to bring out a little example there.
Little fortress gun.
Yeah. So, next we've got the battle zones from Mantic. Mantic, again, a company we discovered last year. Absolutely fantastic. These are part of the Dead Zone range. And you can see here, again, a modular design. And like the Games Workshop one, these really lend themselves to a much more smaller design, which is quite nice because from a couple of packs, this is part of about 2 packs. You can build a good amount of very small scenery. Generally, we like to use the Games Workshop as kind of like the
main building.
The main buildings.
The big pieces of the board.
But these buildings allow us to add another dimension to the places that we have and kind of represent the slums and the shanty towns. These buildings are particularly like, which basically a single cube kind of slums that basically people would be forced to live in, which is good. Now, of course, scenery doesn't always mean having to spend out big, and I think some of the best scenery we've seen has been homemade from bits and pieces.
Yeah.
One brilliant example we've seen has involved baked bean cans that have been made to look rusted and look like big bunkers. I'm going to start with this one, which is one of my creations, and it's a kind of a stone circle, Stonehenge type thing. This was really easy to do. It was pretty much modelling clay, sliced down the line, left to go hard, and then I just painted it and made a few bits. I took some plywood, cut it out, and basically PVA glued and put some modelling sand on it, and that looks superb. We applied a similar rationale with this. We never have enough trees, so what we do is we kind of like cut out a zone and basically glue some trees on, and we treat the whole area as forest.
Next we have our junk piles. Just leftover bits that you can use, and you can just stick them on to make it look like barricade streets or just destroyed vehicles or something, and looks pretty good for a cheap cost.
Yeah,
which is what you're going for, really.
I mean, that was basically nothing. That was just
bits
that we didn't use from other sprues. Just rusted, made them look a bit rusty. 5 or 6 cover save, pretty much.
Yeah. Next, we have the generator piece, which is a light bulb.
Yeah. A light bulb that burned out.
Yeah.
So we didn't even really
recycling.
We just kind of recycled.
Yeah. So basically,
put some modelling clay around the base because obviously the thing juts out a little bit. Painted it up, and it looks pretty good. So it's either a generator or an uplink of some sort, but it makes a good objective. This is one I just kind of got a bit carried away on. A whole lot of pieces that we had left over from one building project or another. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the camera off its drop guard so we can take you inside. But yeah, this is basically a junkyard. There's the owner and operator there. He's got a little shed at the back, his little desk and his little box of things. They've got a little tractor that's collecting up debris, several piles of toxic waste, and everywhere we could put it, little piles of junk that we had, including some 176 these Churchills.
Yep.
Yeah, that I needed the turret from, but I didn't actually need the rest. And again, it just kind of like makes a kind of a nice little scenery piece and a nice piece of area terrain. And finally, there's a kind of classification of terrain, which just adds a little bit of character, which is best described as barricades and objects. Here, these things here are a little bit of crates and barrels. Typically, most sets have it. These ones come from the Mantic range. I think usually there are some in Warhammer sets, aren't there? Barrels, particularly with Imperial Guard.
No.
The famous Aegis defense line, which is useful. I mean, obviously, if you need cover, it's brilliant.
Just like to point out, it's in blue.
Yeah, that's my Space Marines colour. And also like things like gun emplacements as well. Gun emplacements and craters. All these things kind of add a little bit of character to what you're building and kind of really kind of make it look a little bit more futuristic. After all, particularly with Warhammer that we play, you want it to feel like it's in deep space, in some kind of
sci-fi
setting,
yeah,
rather than just either on a Great Plain or Wilderness Plain or in Croydon or somewhere obscure like that. You want it to feel like we're saying,
feel futuristic and just death and carnage. Now we're going to take you through setting up your board.
What we're going to try and do is we're going to basically try and create the ultimate city battle set here. So,
well, I'm going to try and take it through.
And I'm knocking stuff off behind. Basically, an important thing to do is try and put evenness. Don't try and put all the terrain on one side.
Gotta make it balanced and flow to have a good game, basically.
Cool. Usually, what will happen is people. Should we take turns placing things?
Sure. Yeah, that sounds good.
So what we'll do is we'll take some of this off, and I think something like this needs a roll off, doesn't it? Come on, it's a game. It's a war game. Of course, it needs a roll off.
I beat you.
3 versus 1. You get to go first. Okay. Well, so we've got all this scenery in place. So, what do you want to do first?
Well, first off, I would like to start off in the centre, and I'm going to stick a generator there. Mainly because I would think, if it's a city, it would be, you need your power and,
and it could be an objective for a game. We don't actually know what a game is yet. But yeah, and I think actually if we're going to play this game, then why don't we put, if we're going to play this as an objective, and I think we actually need to play this as a game, actually. Let's put difficult terrain all around it, yeah?
Yep.
That stops people from just charging up the rhino right up to the door and then...
I wonder who would that be? Probably you.
Yep.
So I'm going to place a building. Now, I'm going to basically think this is a courtyardish area. So I'm going to try and just make it like that.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Getting
pretty damn good to me.
Good views.
It's just too much choice. I want to use I want to use that somewhere.
This.
Yeah, let's put it somewhere. Should we just difficult terrain the whole bloody thing? Yeah, that's looking cool.
Okay, I guess I'll stick a second building down. And I'll go with this huge monstrosity here.
Ooh, I see sniping potential. This is not going to be a game we use vehicles for, is it?
No. Your turn.
I kind of like the idea of that, actually. Well, it could be pretty cool. I'm dying to use some of these shantytown buildings, and I think that maybe I'll just use two. One here, and kind of one here as well. Just otherwise, if we use every building one at a time, we'll
run out.
run out of film.
I'm going to place the courtyard. What's it called?
Temple of Heroes.
Temple of Heroes.
Something like that.
And I'm going to stick it there.
Cool. What's next? Yeah, I think this thing is modelled on the Notre Dame. Not that you'd notice it much, and I think that goes there.
Well, I think that building will be my next choice, and I'm going to stick it right there.
Cool. Yeah, I think a lot of things are going to kind of flow from this. I think I'm going to choose. Yes, just trying to aim for play for some symmetry here, and I think that about there looks pretty good. Right. Oh, the sniping! I think this is a game for snipers, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to choose.
Yeah.
One medium and one small building, and I'm going to sort of make it like a road system almost.
Yeah, you can put them together, and yeah, I nominate to make this building slightly bigger than it used to be.
Well,
what's left?
We have.
I believe that's the one I call the Governor's Mansion. I call it the Governor's Mansion because the whole thing's pretty fortified in case people don't like the people want a change of governor. Let's put it about there.
Right, so I'm gonna place these two, and I'm gonna place one here, and
why don't you put the two of them together, basically? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Now we just got walls, so I think those two would be a wall, and then that leaves us 4.
Maybe put one wall. Oh, do you know what? And if you're going to do that, then I'm going to put a bit of a defence line over here for whoever comes over here.
Right, I guess I'll place these two. Actually, I will place this wall like that. And go for. You want to not try and make it just straight.
Because you never know. Because sometimes someone goes, actually, I'll have your. I'll roll off and I'll have the side of the board that you put all those buildings on.
Yeah.
I think we're about done, and I think we're going to be playing on this in the very near future. It looks fantastic. Moving. No movies now. It's done. But as you can see, suddenly your game has got a lot more character. Let's just take you inside. That looks amazing. Look at the battle zones. Incredible. That's going to have a lot more character when it comes to playing your game than just playing it on a board. Obviously, how long have we been collecting?
Oh,
about 3 years on scenery. 3 or 4 years.
3 years, yeah.
Yeah. So it takes a while to build up this level of scenery. It helps cutting corners by making your own wherever you can. Finding out some other ones. Like I said, one of the great things about the Mantic set is you get lots of small pieces of scenery. The Games Workshop is pretty unparalleled when you want to make these large buildings.
Epic castles.
But sometimes you don't need loads of epic buildings. And
just simple ones. Yeah, just the one pieces. Look good.
Hope this is inspiring you to get some better stuff on your table and really to think quite hard about what you can do to get the best scenery you can on the table. But for now, happy wargaming.
And we'll see you later. Goodbye.